I never thought the person I'd grown up with could become a complete stranger, but that's exactly what happened the summer I turned 16. My older brother Marcus had always been my hero. 3 years older, he was the one who taught me to ride a bike, who stayed up late helping me with math homework, who defended me when kids at school made fun of my stutter. We shared everything: a room, secrets, dreams about the future. Then he got accepted to Lincoln Prep, the elite private school across town. "This is amazing, Marcus," Mom had squealed, waving the acceptance letter. "Full scholarship. Do you know what this means?" I did know. It meant he'd be gone, not physically, he'd still live at home, but in every way that mattered. The first day he came home in that navy blazer with the golden crest, I barely recognized him. He walked differently, talked differently. At dinner, he corrected my grammar. When I asked him to play basketball like we used to, he said he had networking events and study groups. "You're being dramatic, Jamie," he said when I confronted him. "I'm just trying to make something of myself." What did that make me? Nothing. Months passed. Our shared bedroom became a demilitarized zone, his side immaculate with AP textbooks and debate team trophies, mine cluttered with comic books and basketball cards. We stopped talking except when necessary. I started spending more time with my friend Devin. We'd shoot hoops at the park until dark, complaining about homework, girls, parents, normal teenage stuff. Devin noticed the change in Marcus too. "Your brother thinks he's too good for the neighborhood now," Devin said one evening. "He's not like that," I defended him automatically, though I wasn't sure I believed it anymore. The real breaking point came in November. Our cousin Maya was getting married and Marcus was supposed to be my date to bring. We'd joked about it for years, the two of us causing chaos at family weddings, sneaking cake, making fun of Uncle Robert's terrible dancing. But 2 days before the wedding, Marcus announced he wouldn't be going. "I have the Model UN conference that weekend," he said casually over breakfast, not even looking up from his phone. "You've known about Maya's wedding for 6 months," I said quietly. "This is important, Jamie," the conference could. "Everything at that school is more important than us, isn't it?" He finally looked at me then, and for a second I thought I saw something: regret, maybe, or guilt, but it vanished quickly. "You wouldn't understand," he said. "This is about my future." Mom tried to mediate, but what was there to say? Marcus had made his choice and it wasn't us. The house became a battleground of passive aggression. I'd turn up my music when he was studying. He'd invite his new prep school friends over without warning and they'd look at me like I was part of the furniture. We communicated through Mom, even though we shared a room. "Tell Jamie to clean his side. Tell Marcus I can't hear myself think over his pretentious classical music." Dad, who worked double shifts and was barely home, seemed oblivious to the tension. When he was around, Marcus and I would fake civility, which somehow felt worse than the fighting. I started failing algebra. Marcus, who used to help me for hours, who had infinite patience explaining equations, didn't even notice, or maybe he did and didn't care. "Your brother could help you," Mom suggested gently one evening. "I'd rather fail," I said, and I meant it. The truth was, I missed him. I missed staying up late talking about everything and nothing. I missed his laugh, the real one, not the polished chuckle he used with his new friends. I missed having someone who got me without explanation. But pride is a powerful thing, especially at 16. Everything changed on a Friday in February. I was walking home from Devin's house around 11, later than I should have been. 3 guys from Washington High, known troublemakers, cornered me in the alley behind the bodega. "Nice jacket," one of them said. It was Marcus's old varsity jacket, the one he'd given me years ago before he decided he was too good for public school athletics. "Just passing through," I said, trying to sound calm. "We know you. You're that prep school kid's brother, right? The one who thinks he's better than everyone." My heart sank. This wasn't about me or the jacket. This was about Marcus, about resentment that had been building in the neighborhood toward anyone trying to escape. "I don't go to prep school," I said. "But your brother does." What? He forgot where he came from, forgot about the neighborhood. Before I could respond, one of them shoved me. The jacket tore. My phone shattered on the pavement. And then they were gone, laughing, leaving me sitting in that dirty alley with blood on my lip and tears I refused to let fall. I could have called the police. I could have called Mom. Instead, I found myself dialing the one number I'd programmed into muscle memory years ago. Marcus answered on the third ring. Jamie, it's almost midnight, what? Can you come get me? My voice cracked. I'm by the bodega on Fletcher. He didn't ask questions. Stay there, I'm coming. He showed up 15 minutes later, still in his pajamas with a coat thrown over them, driving Mom's car even though he'd only had his license for 3 months. When he saw me, the torn jacket, the blood, the shattered phone, his face went pale. Who did this? He demanded. Doesn't matter. Jamie who? Some guys from Washington High, they weren't after me, they were making a point about you. He went quiet, then he took off his coat and wrapped it around my shoulders gently like I was made of glass. Let's get you home, he said softly. We drove in silence for a while, then Marcus pulled over in an empty parking lot and just sat there, hands gripping the steering wheel. I messed up, he said finally. I've been messing up for months. I didn't respond. When I got into Lincoln Prep, I was terrified, he continued. These kids, Jamie, they have vacation homes, they travel to Europe every summer, they talk about colleges I didn't even know existed. I felt so out of place and I thought if I could just become like them, if I could fit in perfectly, then maybe I'd deserve to be there. So you erased everything you were before, I said quietly. I didn't mean to erase you, you're my brother, you're the most important person in my life and I've been treating you like you don't matter. His voice broke. Those guys tonight, they're right, I forgot where I came from, I forgot what matters. You got into that school because of who you are, I said, not who you're pretending to be. I know that now, he turned to look at me. I miss you, Jamie, I miss my little brother, I miss us. The dam broke, all the anger, the hurt, the loneliness of the past months came pouring out. You left me, I said, and I was crying now. Not caring how weak it made me look. You were supposed to be the one person who would never leave me and you did. I'm so sorry, he was crying too. I'm so sorry. Things didn't magically fix themselves after that night. Trust, once broken, takes time to rebuild. But started trying, really trying. He quit half his extracurriculars at Lincoln Prep. I was doing them to impress people I don't even like, he explained. I want time for the things, the people who actually matter. He started coming to my basketball games again, cheering embarrassingly loud from the bleachers. He helped me with algebra, patient and encouraging like he used to be. We instituted brother night every Friday, no phones, no prep school friends, no pretense, just us, pizza and whatever terrible movie we could find. Tell me about Lincoln Prep, I said one night, the real stuff, not the performance. He did. He told me about the syndrome, the pressure, the loneliness of being the scholarship kid. He told me about the teacher who believed in him and the friend who actually understood. He told me his fears about college, about leaving home, about who he was supposed to become. You can be both, I said. The guy who goes to prep school and the guy from this neighborhood, they're both you. When did you get so wise? I learned from my big brother, the real one, not the fake version. He smiled, that genuine smile I'd been missing. I told him things too, about failing algebra because I was too proud to ask for help, about feeling left behind, about the fear that everyone I loved would eventually outgrow me. I'm never outgrowing you, said firmly, you're stuck with me, little brother. Spring came and with it a kind of balance. Brought his Lincoln Prep friends to our neighborhood and they weren't all terrible. Some were genuinely nice and a few even came to shoot hoops with Devin and me. In turn, I visited his school, saw what made it special, understood why he valued it. Your brother's smart, Devin admitted after meeting debate partner, a girl named who challenged him on every topic and made him laugh. Yeah, he is, I agreed, but he's smarter now than he was a few months ago. The guys who jumped me got arrested for something unrelated, wanted to press charges for what they did to me, but I declined. They were angry at the wrong person, I said, let it go. You're more forgiving than I would be. Someone taught me that being strong doesn't mean being hard all the time. Mom cried when she saw us watching a movie together like we used to, my head on his shoulder, sharing a bowl of popcorn. Dad, home for once on a Saturday, just grinned and took a picture. My boys, he said softly. By the time summer rolled around, had changed again, but this time he brought me along for the journey. He taught me about the opportunities he was learning about, scholarships, programs, summer courses, not to pressure me but to show me what was possible. "You're smarter than you think," he said, "and your stutter, that's not a weakness. Some of the best speakers I know have speech impediments, they just worked harder to be heard." He introduced me to his debate coach who worked with me on my confidence. By the end of summer, my stutter had improved, and more importantly, I'd stopped seeing it as a defining flaw. I made the varsity basketball team as a sophomore, was at every home game and some away games too, even if it meant missing prep school events. "This is where I want to be," he'd say. We still fought sometimes, he could still be pretentious and I could still be stubborn, but the fights were normal sibling stuff now, not the Cold War that had defined those months. Senior year came and with it, college applications. Worked on his essays at our desk while I did homework and sometimes he'd read them to me. "What do you think about this?" he'd ask, valuing my opinion. One essay was about us, about the mistakes he'd made, what he'd learned, how family kept him grounded even when he tried to fly away from it. "You're going to make me cry," I said when he read it aloud. "That's the point," he grinned. "College admissions counselors love tears." When the acceptances started rolling in, Duke, Georgetown, I felt a weird mix of pride and grief. He was leaving for real this time, heading to college across the country. "I'm going to miss you," I admitted one night. "I'm going to miss you too, but we're brothers, that doesn't change because of distance. I learned that the hard way." "You'll call every week, and you'll text me about your games, your classes, everything, deal?" "Deal." The day he left for was one of the hardest of my life. Mom cried the whole morning, Dad kept finding excuses to check luggage one more time. I tried to stay strong, but when it was time to say goodbye, I lost it. "Who's going to help me with calculus?" I said through tears. "You'll figure it out, you're tougher than you think." He hugged me tight, "and I'm just a phone call away." "It won't be the same." "No," he agreed, "but that's okay, we're both growing, that's what we're supposed to do." "I love you," I said, not caring that it sounded childish. "I love you too, little brother, always have, always will." The first few weeks after left were strange. The room felt too big, dinner was too quiet. I'd turn to tell him something and remember he wasn't there. But he kept his promise. Every Sunday evening, like clockwork, my phone would ring. He told me about his classes, his roommate, the campus. I told him about junior year basketball season, the girl I had a crush on. "Ask her out," he encouraged. "What if she says no?" "Then she says no and you survive. Trust me, rejection is a survival skill worth learning." I asked her out, she said yes. We dated for 3 months before realizing we were better as friends, and was right, I survived. The house felt emptier without, but I found ways to fill the space. I joined the debate club, his influence. I started tutoring younger kids in math, his legacy. I made new friends who valued me for who I was, not who my brother was or wasn't. When came home for Thanksgiving, I almost didn't recognize him at the airport. He'd grown a beard, dressed differently, carried himself with new confidence. But when he saw me, his face lit up with that familiar smile. He grabbed me in a bear hug, lifting me off the ground even though I'd grown 3 inches and was almost as tall as him now. "You look different," I said. "You too, when did you get so tall?" That weekend was perfect. We fell back into old rhythms, staying up late talking, playing basketball at the park, annoying Mom with our arguments over trivial things. His prep school friends came by and so did Devin and my basketball team. The living room was full of laughter and noise and life. "I'm proud of you," Marcus said on his last night home. We were in our room like old times, talking in the dark. "For what?" "For becoming who you are, for not making the same mistakes I did, for being confident in yourself." "I learned from the best," I said, after he stopped being an idiot for a while. He laughed, "Fair enough." Junior year flew by. Marcus and I maintained our Sunday calls, but they evolved. Sometimes we'd go weeks without talking, caught up in our respective lives, but when we did connect, it was meaningful. "I met someone," he told me one evening. "Yeah, tell me about her." "His name is Daniel." There was a pause. I processed this new information, this piece of my brother I hadn't known. "Tell me about him," I said. The relief in his voice was palpable. He told me about Daniel, about being scared to come out, about how college had given him the space to figure himself out. Does Mom know? Not yet, you're the first person in the family I'm telling. I'm honored, I said, and I meant it. And Marcus, I love you, that doesn't change. I know, that's why I told you first. When he came out to Mom and Dad over winter break, I stood beside him. Dad took a moment to process but came around quickly. Mom just hugged him and said she loved him no matter what. You raised me to be honest, Marcus said to them. This is me being honest. Senior year arrived and with it, my own college applications. Marcus helped remotely, reading essays, giving advice. Write about something real, he said, write about us. So I did. I wrote about what it meant to almost lose a brother while living in the same room, about pride and forgiveness, about growing up and growing apart and finding your way back to each other. I got into UCLA, not Stanford, but that was okay, I needed to forge my own path. I'm proud of you, Marcus said when I told him, you're going to do amazing things. We both are, I corrected. My graduation party was small but perfect. Marcus flew home for it, bringing Daniel, who fit into our family like he'd always been there. Devin was there and my basketball team and the debate club. The house was full of people from different parts of my life, all celebrating together. This is what community looks like, Marcus said, looking around. This is what I was trying to escape, and it's exactly what I needed most. Later, when the party had died down, Marcus and I sat on the porch steps like we had when we were kids. I'm scared, I admitted, about leaving, about college, about everything changing. Change is scary, he agreed. But Jamie, change is also how we grow. You're going to make mistakes, that's guaranteed, but you'll learn from them and you'll become who you're meant to be. Who am I meant to be? I don't know, but I can't wait to find out. Epilogue: The Bond. 5 years later, I'm sitting in my apartment in Los Angeles video chatting with Marcus in San Francisco. He's an attorney now, working in civil rights law. Daniel is his husband. I'm finishing my master's in education, planning to become a teacher. We still talk every Sunday, though now it's over dinner and drinks, catching up on our weeks. The distance doesn't feel like distance anymore, it's just geography, not a measure of our connection. Remember when we couldn't stand each other, I say. We were idiots, Marcus agrees. Well, I was an idiot, you were just hurt. We both were, but we figured it out. Yeah, we did. Mom sends a group text, a photo from that terrible period when Marcus first went to Lincoln Prep, both of us forcing smiles, the tension visible even in a still image. Then another photo from my graduation, arms around each other, genuine joy on our faces. Look how far we've come, she writes. And she's right, we've come so far, not apart but forward together, carrying each other even across the miles. I love you, little brother, Marcus says. I love you too, I reply, always have, always will. Some bonds can bend, even break for a time, but the ones that matter, the ones built on foundation of shared history and genuine love, they find their way back. They heal, they grow stronger for having been tested. Marcus and I aren't just brothers anymore. We're friends, confidants, the first call in a crisis and the first share in a celebration. We know each other's flaws and love each other anyway. We've seen each other at our worst and helped each other become our best. That's what family means, not perfection but perseverance, not proximity but presence, not avoiding mistakes but learning from them together. As I end the call and look out at the LA skyline, I think about that scared 16-year-old sitting in an alley feeling abandoned and alone. I wish I could tell him it gets better, that the space between him and his brother shrinks back to nothing. That love, real love, can survive anything, even our own worst impulses. But he'll figure it out, we both did. And that's the thing about growing up. Sometimes you have to almost lose everything to understand what really matters. Sometimes the space between us is exactly what we need to find our way back to each other. Marcus and I learned that lesson the hard way, but we learned it, and we're better for it. Subscribe to my channel.